Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Dental. Comprehensive dentistry at 14 convenient locations in Springfield, Chicopee, Longmeadow, West Springfield, Belchertown, East Longmeadow, Ludlow, Northampton, Greenfield, and Wilbraham, as well as 29 Broad Street in Westfield. Bay State Dental makes it a priority to help you achieve and maintain the healthy smile you deserve. On the web at baystatedental.com.
We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6 o'clock. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. My name is Tina Gorman. It's Wake Up Wednesday. It is Wednesday, May 2nd. My sidekick over here is Chairman of the Board, Producer Pete Coles. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning.
We are broadcasting live from City Hall. We're in Council Chambers this morning. If anyone would like to come down and visit us, here we are.
You know, it's almost warm enough we could have been on the pavilion today, but I haven't gotten the network pushed out that far yet.
Yeah, I actually thought about that. And it is, well, right now it's only 47 degrees, so it's not super warm, but it's going up 40 degrees today.
It's going to be the 80s today.
Yeah, the high 80s today.
Yeah.
So,
crazy.
Yeah, I know. My fear was...
Do you realize the last time we were here was snowing?
Yes, I do. It was snowing 2 weeks ago.
Snowing.
Yeah, it was snowing 2 weeks ago from tomorrow, because when we had the senior options event, which was on April 19th, it snowed that morning. It didn't stick or anything, but
yes.
But it was certainly cold enough for that. So a big change in temperature between right now and a little bit later on today. So dress in layers, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too bad out there right now.
No,
actually,
nice.
when I came
It's
in, I was
beautiful.
like very light fleece, and I'm probably going to the shirt later on, and that'll be it.
Yeah, exactly. So it is going to be warm. We expect some showers maybe later on today into tomorrow, but still warm in the 80s tomorrow and Friday as well. So I think this is the high of the 80s, way up in the 80s. But, my fear was that we would jump from winter to summer, and I feel like that's what we're doing. And I miss spring.
It's going to moderate next week.
That's what I'm hoping, that we'll kind of get back into something more reasonable, because
this is New England.
It is New England,
We
wait 5 minutes and
the only thing it doesn't do in the summer is snow, but we've had a couple of seasons in the 1800s where it did that. So.
Yeah, it's crazy times.
Mm-hmm.
So Pete, what's new in your world since we last met last Wednesday?
I've been busy.
You have been busy. What were you doing with I heard something about bullying. What were you doing?
I did two.
Something? Yeah.
One bullying, one
that?
suicide prevention. So the students of Westfield State in the advanced marketing class did an anti-bullying event at Circuit Coffee on Saturday.
Okay. I had heard about that. But
right, and they had asked me to do a 2-hour broadcast as part of it. They went from 9 to 1.
Okay.
Discounted coffee. They had raffle prizes. Just a informational campaign.
Nice.
And as part of that, we did a remote from 10 to noon. So I set up in Circuit Coffee, and they did interviews outside.
Very nice.
Which was nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun.
Good. Excellent. So that was last week.
Something as a good friend for our Devin Bates, who was, a host of Owl Sports Weekly.
Yes.
And part of that class. So.
Yes. Very nice. And we are actually, believe it or not, and I know, I think a lot of people think that bullying occurs mostly among children. It happens at all different age levels. And believe it or not, at the end of May, we're going to have Beth Cardillo from Armbrook Village. She's the executive director of Armbrook Village, and Beth is going to be coming back and talking, believe it or not, about bullying among older adults, which is a new sort of a new topic that she's taken on, a new issue she's taken on. She's actually doing a presentation at a very major conference in the Boston area mid-month. So we had talked when she was here last month about her. We never got to that topic. It's just a whole, we could really do a whole segment on that, which is what we decided to do. So I had I'd connected with her last week, and I said, well, when would you like to come on? Because she reminded me, she said, I really want to come back on WSKB and do that segment on bullying. And I said, fine, when do you want to? And I knew she was doing this presentation mid-May. So I didn't know whether she wanted to use us as a warm-up but she's actually, she prefers to do it at the end of the month. So she'll be coming on at the end of the month and doing
Well, you know what it is? It's if you talk about issues or something like that, I've noticed this in politics, it's when it gets personal and demeaning.
Yes.
Is when it crosses that line into bullying. And I'm starting to see that a little bit, in all facets of life. I'm kind of aware of it, where I was dealing with it when I was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not like, hey, I'm not crying about it, but I'm just realizing that it happened. You know what I mean?
Yes. And you know what, Pete? A part of the solution to any problem is awareness and being more aware of what's going on, So I think that's a huge first step, for you personally. And I think you're right. I think when people start to personalize things but anyway, so great topic. We're going to talk a lot about that. And what was the other one you did was suicide prevention? What was that?
Suicide awareness last night.
Suicide awareness. Okay.
Westfield Technical Academy had they did a fundraiser last year for Alzheimer's because some people from the team were connected to it.
I remember.
This year, same thing. Some people on the team have had suicides in the family or extended family. So they decided to take on a cause every year for one of the games, and this is the cause that they took on this year. Wow. So they had we're selling wristbands, and they had raffles, and the concessions. Babe Ruth said the concessions for the night were going to the charity. So it was a really cool event, and heart attack, but they still won the game.
Yeah.
The other team, Gateway, scored I think it was 7 runs in the top of the 7th inning to come tie.
Goodness.
To go ahead. No, I think they scored 8 runs. And Westfield won off in walk-off fashion 13. They come back and scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 7th to win.
Wow. Oh, my goodness.
Heart
That's
attack
amazing.
kids, those boys.
Yeah. Wow. So do you know what happened with the Sox last night? Because Gary and I went to bed, and it was tied at 3, and it was the top of the 10th, and we kind of said, all right, we got to go to bed.
I think I saw a thing that they lost.
All right, but this was like my great event of the week so far was that I actually witnessed Xander Bogaerts hit the grand slam the other night.
Okay.
I have never seen it.
You never seen a grand slam?
I've never seen it in real time. You know, I've seen I think
Oh,
one
the replay,
time I was
okay.
in the kitchen
Yep.
and I heard it, but I didn't see it. So, of course, I came running out. You know, I got to see it on the replay. But this one, I was actually watching the game, saw it happen. So I was jumping up and down and, you know, on the couch
Sure.
and screaming. And it was all kinds of great, and, you know, really fun. So, yeah, it's been an exciting season with the Sox so far. So we have
Yeah.
not been to a Sox game. Gary and I try to get out to Fenway at least once a year. And we have not been to a Sox game in a couple of years. And he's already booked us twice.
Yeah.
So we're
I've
going.
seen Sox games elsewhere, like at Camden Yards.
We
but I
saw
haven't
it-
been to Fenway in
yeah.
years.
Yeah, we saw it at Camden Yards. I want
I want to go back to Camden Yards. I love that ballpark.
Well, you know what was interesting when we went to Camden Yards, which is down in Baltimore. My niece at the time was living right in the heart of Baltimore, and we walked from her brownstone over to the game. It was really kind of fun.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was quite a few years ago. But the thing that was so amazing when we went to Camden Yards was that I could not believe the number of Sox fans. I mean, we're driving down the street and the
They don't
vendors.
call it Fenway South for nothing.
And I'm telling you, Pete, the vendors, you know, there were Sox things. So I thought I would see, you know, Oriole, orange and black all over the place. Well, of course there was that, but
Yeah.
there was the red and blue everywhere. And I said to Gary, if you close your eyes, you would kind of not realize that you were not at your, you know, your home
Right, yeah,
stadium.
there's a lot of people that
Yeah.
make the trek to Baltimore.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
it's
there
only
were-
a 4 or 5 hour drive.
Well, that's it. There were
you know?
busloads. We went in the summer. I want to say it was like July or August, and there were busloads of Sox fans. I mean,
Yep.
the hotel that we stayed at was, you know, all Sox fans because it was right near the ballpark.
Well, and I know that
Oh,
Harry
a lot of fun.
Sinkowitz like does a bus trip every
He
year.
does. A lot of them are doing like
There's
overnight
like 3 or
bus
4
trips.
that I know about that do a
Yeah.
whole series. They'll do the whole series.
Yeah. So lots of fun. So
Yeah.
good stuff. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. We got the Celts play. The other night I texted my daughter Grace, who's down in Florida. I said, all right, we have the trifecta going on here. We have the
Right.
Sox going. We have the Bees going. We got the Celts going. We
Apparently,
got all kinds of stuff.
I saw somebody
fun.
posted somewhere on Facebook the trifecta. If all 3 hit, if you put up $100, you got $775 back.
Oh, there you go. All right.
And I think they all did win, actually.
No, the night that they played, the Bruins lost.
Bruins lost.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Celts won. Sox won.
See, the house always knows who wins.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, so lots of good stuff going on sports-wise. So that's cool. If you're a New England fan, you know, we have lots of things to cheer about these days. So I'm trying to think, Pete, of since I saw you last. So last Wednesday night, we had the Mayor's Volunteer of the Year Awards going on at the Senior Center. We hosted, and the mayor was deep in the thick of meetings with council I think it was last Wednesday. But Amber filled in for him and did a wonderful job. And we had 4 really terrific candidates. Eric Hall was one, Kathy Tansey, Vanessa Diana. And the other gentleman, he's a volunteer who works at Western Mass Hospital with Bridget, who's the volunteer coordinator there. And we've had her on this show.
Sure.
He was on, his first name is Tom. I don't know his last name. It was a little unusual. And he was actually one of the winners. And he was unable to be there that night. But he is doing some amazing work over at Western Mass Hospital with technology and some of the patients who have some neurological disorders.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you'd be fascinated. And when they read his dossier, I said to Bridget afterward, I said, we have to get you and him back on the show. I would love to have him on the show to talk about, what he's doing from a technological standpoint to help patients. And it's all on his part, it's all volunteer, obviously. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is very, very cool. And I know you'd be interested. I was really amazed at that. So we're going to get them on, hopefully within the next month or two. Kathy Tansey also won for her work that she's been doing with Domus, with Our House, and with Ann Lentini. And of course, Eric Hall and Vanessa Diana, everybody's, I don't know how, as Amber
Those
said.
are called known quantities.
Yeah, exactly, Pete. And you know what? As Amber said, she said, I would not have, she goes, I'm glad I wasn't the mayor to have to make this decision because it would have been a 4-way tie. I mean, by the time the people who nominated them got finished talking about them and why they were nominated, that's what it's all about. That's what makes communities great. I mean, this is, May is really the month where we honor volunteers. We'll be having our volunteer recognition breakfast through the Senior Center next week. And I think any organization will tell you, especially any nonprofit, you can't survive without your volunteers. You just can't.
No,
money, there's not enough
nowadays.
money in the city budget for what our volunteers do, not just in my department, but in other departments as well.
Some people need to learn that.
Yes, some people do need to learn that. All right, it is 6:11. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield Masses. So we are going to do famous birthdays later on in the show.
Because we have no guest in the second hour.
Correct, but we have a ton of stuff to go through in the second hour.
I figured you would.
But the first hour, we are really devoting to it's really all about health and wellness, and we're particularly going to talk about mental health this first hour. So we have we have a national day and we have a national month. So we're going to talk about the national day first, because actually, you know what, we won't. We'll talk about that later when we talk about some nutritional stuff. We're going to talk about the month. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Since 1945, May has been observed as National Mental Health Awareness Month, a time when advocates and activists across the country draw attention to the mental health issues that affect as many as 1 in 4 Americans. I'm going to repeat that statistic. As many as 1 in 4 Americans. Today, more people die from suicide in the United States than from traffic accidents or homicides, and we lose 22 veterans to suicide daily. Unfortunately, because of the stigma associated with mental illness, many people are too ashamed or embarrassed to seek the help they need for themselves or their loved ones. National Mental Health Awareness Month is a time when we work together to break through that stigma. We express compassion for those who struggle with mental health issues, and we draw attention to the proven methods that can help change their lives for the better. And we are going to spend the first hour with Dr. Gary Gorman, our resident chiropractor, talking about mental health awareness. And we're going to do a spin on what we usually talk about, which is how your mental health affects your physical health. This morning, we're going to talk about how your physical health affects your mental health. So lots of really interesting information this morning. All of the songs for this first hour have to deal with sort of mental health issues. And this is really interesting. And I was telling Dr. Gorman and I were talking about it last night, that these songs were all, that the songs that I've chosen, it wasn't just because of sort of the topic of the song, but it was also because of the person who sang the song. So the first one that we're going to play is People Are Strange by The Doors. This 1967 song was written and sung by The Doors frontman Jim Morrison. Now, this is interesting. The lyrics sprang from a deep depression the singer was experiencing. Accompanied by his bandmates, Morrison took a long walk along Laurel Canyon in Los Angeles and penned the lyrics on a ridge looking out over the city. The song is a reflection on modern alienation and being an outsider. This is People Are Strange by The Doors.
People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven when you're down. When you're strange, faces come out of the rain. When you're strange, no one remembers your name. When you're strange, when you're strange, when you're strange. People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven when you're down. When you're strange, faces come out of the rain. When you're strange, no one remembers your name. When you're strange, when you're strange, when you're strange. All right, yeah. When you're strange,
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Commercial Distributing Company of Westfield. Now in its third generation of family ownership, Commercial is one of the premier beverage distributors of Western Massachusetts. The Plasek family and the staff of Commercial Distributing wishes you good times throughout the year and urges you to drink responsibly. Underwriting for community radio is provided by the YMCA of Greater Westfield. Every day, the YMCA strengthens the community through programs and services focused on youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. For all the Y's many programs and services, visit us on the web at www.westfieldymca.org. The YMCA, 67 Court Street in downtown Westfield. We're more than a gym. We're a cause. Underwriting support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Greater Westfield Chamber of Commerce, the voice of business for the Greater Westfield communities. Informing, educating, advocating, the Chamber provides opportunities for members to make meaningful connections on local, regional, and state levels. For more information on the Chamber's many events, workshops, and programs, as well as the benefits of membership, visit westfieldbiz.org. The Chamber focuses on the most important economy, yours. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
He rules the roost on Thursday from 6 till 10. It's Patrick Berry.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:18. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses. We're having technical difficulties here with our microphones. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host. It is Wednesday, May 2nd. In the high 40s right now, going up into the high 80s. We are broadcasting live from council chambers.
Somewhere.
Gary's having technical difficulties.
It's just a unruly mic stand.
Yeah, exactly. I like the setting because I like being in council chambers because I have these really huge windows so I can actually see outside, whereas when we're in the studio up at the college, I can't see anything.
I can fix that. I'll put us on the pavilion. You can see everything.
That's true. Well, I think, and we'll be broadcasting. I have no problems with the pavilion during the summer.
Right, yes.
My problems with the pavilion is when it's freezing cold outside. But yeah, so we'll start broadcasting probably live
next month.
So we're here in council chambers because we broadcast live from council chambers at City Hall the first Wednesday of the month, because following my show at 8:00 is the mayor's show.
Correct.
With Denny Akins and Amber Danahy generally, and of course Mayor Brian Sullivan. And so broadcasting here allows Mayor Sullivan to be running back and forth to and from his office, which is what he does.
In every break.
Fielding phone calls and emails and
putting
other
out
such
fires
things.
and
Right,
what he
exactly.
usually does.
Exactly. But my guest this morning is our, we like to call him our resident chiropractor, our resident WSKB chiropractor, Dr. Gary Gorman. Gary is a chiropractor with Riverbend Medical Group in Agawam. Gary, you've been on this show now for a long time, almost since its inception.
Yes. And these 4 weeks go by like
I know,
rapid fire.
Gary's like, is it my turn again?
I feel like it was yesterday I was here.
Yeah.
But
it kind of was.
First and foremost, I'm your husband.
Yeah, right, exactly. So anyway, this morning
actually, I was on right since the beginning, almost with with
Mayor Dan Knappich when we did it together. So we'll stroll down nostalgia lane over the summer when it's the anniversary of the WSKB Community Talk Radio. So we are talking, May is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Right.
So Gary, I'm just going to, right out of the gate, how closely tied is your physical health with your mental health? I mean, are you buying into this?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. And I've said this all along. When patients come in to see me, they come in with a particular physical ailment, whatever it is, whether it's a headache, low back pain, neck pain, or whatever the case may be. And I oftentimes will tell them, I'm treating you as a person, not as a back, not as a neck, not as a head.
Not as a physical diagnosis.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And so as I start through the process, we start there. But oftentimes I ask a litany of questions. And toward the very end, I ask them psychosocial issues. Have you been ever diagnosed with depression or anxiety or ADD or ADHD or anything?
Okay.
The beauty of being a Riverbend is I have I have access to the charts like everybody else, so I could go and see what kind of medications they're on. I could see what kind of previous diagnoses they have had, etc. And there's clearly a connection between depression and physical conditions working for or against one another. And in most cases, it can work against you. So, for example, a patient comes in to see me with an acute injury to the musculoskeletal system. Say, let's use low back pain because everybody could understand that. So their lifestyle has been disrupted, turned upside down. They're out of work.
Okay.
They may not have disability insurance.
Okay. So now finances are
got
also
it.
a problem.
Finances become a problem. They're put on muscle relaxers, anti-inflammatories, and pain medications. You could see where this is heading.
Sure.
And even if they are on some sort of disability, unfortunately today, our system is set up funny in that oftentimes a person can make 70% of their working income by not working.
Right.
Why would you not want to stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning and watch the old movies and get paid 70 cents on the dollar? So, but I digress. When we get back to the situation, what happens is when a person has an injury, they have to start compromising their lifestyle a little bit, and that is very difficult for them to do. Say they have a weekly date with their friends to go to lunch, or they play poker, or they play,
or maybe they play golf.
They play golf,
or maybe they like to garden,
or any activity that they like to do as a routine, whether it's just a socialization. Whether it's making an income or whatever it is, and that has been taken away from them. That is oftentimes a hard pill to swallow. It's a difficult situation because they start to become anxious because, for one, they're missing out on things that they really like to do. But when it gets to the economic piece of it, they have bills to pay, and then they start. I say they, but you could start to go through this panic mode, and you could start to mask your pain by taking medications and anti-inflammatories and continue to work, which just is this vicious cycle of hurting yourself more, but not realizing it just because you want to get to work.
Right. I think the other thing that happens, that we haven't really focused on too much is structure to your day.
Right.
People need structure to their day. So if they have some kind of a musculoskeletal injury, and that disrupts that structure. So either they can't work, so because they're out of work, and so you've got the stresses of the financial piece of it. But it's also one of those. Well, when I get up in the morning, what am I supposed to do? And if you can't, as you said, if you have a weekly golf date with your buddies or whatever, well, now I can't play golf because of this injury. So what happens is, I think that we see a lot of people who might be predisposed to some mental health issues having those worsen. And certainly the statistics on the number of Americans that suffer from depression is staggering. It's absolutely staggering. And we're seeing more and more, folks on medication for that. And I think that, you and I have talked about this privately. I mean, I think medication can be a wonderful thing, but I think if you're relying solely on medication to deal with mental health issues such as depression, such as anxiety, those kinds of things, there are other lifestyle changes that you can make that will, affect your mental health. So let's kind of get into some of those, sort of some of the little bit of the recipe for that. And I know you wanted to start with exercise.
Right.
So let's talk about exercise. Why is that so? We know that it's good for you physically. How does that affect your mental health?
Right. Well, I think we have to put medication as a way to jumpstart the condition, just to get you out of doing nothing, getting out of that inertia.
Sort of to get you out of crisis.
Right. Get you out of crisis.
Okay.
But
Fair enough.
Just by sheer exercise, everybody has probably heard the term the runner's high. It's that euphoria that takes place.
What is that? Like, what is that? You're a runner, so what is that? What is a runner's high?
Well,
for people who don't run, what does that mean?
Well, there are chemicals that are secreted that are produced in the brain that make you feel really good. And exercise is one way to get those chemicals and those hormones to be secreted.
Okay. Are those the endorphins that
Endorphins,
we've heard
exactly.
tell about?
Right, endorphins, right.
And that's a good thing?
Right.
I mean,
and some of the pain medications that you're on, the prescription pain medications, act in a very similar fashion.
So they mimic that.
Mimic endorphins.
Okay.
And our brain can produce those, which gives us a feel-good feeling.
Okay.
And it's interesting enough, I'll often talk to patients and I'll say, okay, what makes you feel better and what makes you feel worse as far as your physical condition is concerned? And oftentimes the comment is that, well, I feel worse when I'm at night because I have time to think about it. And during the day, I feel better because I'm distracted because I'm busy and I don't think about it. Well, the reality of the situation is this: that may be a portion of it, but movement blocks pain.
Okay.
And so, consequently, when a person has a physical condition, getting up and moving helps to block pain because there are wires that go from the body to the brain. If you think of telephone wires, okay.
Yeah, sure.
So the message system for pain goes at a certain speed. So if I'm going to call you on the phone, that wire to call you, it goes at a certain rate of speed. Well, when we move, the brain picks up movement as well too, and that movement message system is faster than the pain message system. So when you're up and moving around, in essence, it creates a busy signal in your brain for pain. So because you're up and walking around,
great analogy,
right?
Yeah.
So when you're up and walking around or doing anything and moving and keeping active to a certain level that you're capable of doing,
right,
you're creating busy signals. So those pain receptors cannot pick up pain because its movement is kind of blocking that for a period of time.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's very cool.
So consequently, you know what? Bed rest is really something that we frown upon, that we only want to use as a last resort. And if a person is that bad, then medication to help them getting up and move around for short term. But there are other options as well too: ice versus heat, et cetera, et cetera. But exercise of any sort, even if you're in bed, if you could bring your knees up to your chest and you could do little exercises in bed, doing something to kind of move. You don't want to be laying there totally 100% still.
Well, you know, Garrett, it's interesting, just sort of to dovetail on what you're talking about. It reminds me of something. I've done some presentations on mild depression in older adults, and sort of, you know, just some behavioral things that you can do. One of the things that, you know, that I've taught, because the research bears it out, is that it's hard to be depressed when you're doing something.
Right.
When you're engaged with something or someone, it's kind of hard to be depressed. Right. So that whole thing that you were just talking about with movement blocking pain, I think there's that mental health, you know, issue as well with, if you're up, if you're moving, if you're doing, you're less likely to experience the degree of depression that you might if you're just laying around, sitting around, kind of, you know, kind of wallowing in how horrible things are, because things may be really horrible. I'm not, you know, that absolutely may be going on.
Right. I have a case right now, and of course it's an anonymous case, but it's a young adult who clearly came in to see me for a physical condition, but clearly has some depression issues. She's in counseling and medication, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the first day I said, your homework is this: I want you to get out and go for a walk, a 20-minute walk every day.
Okay.
And when you're out there, I don't want you to be thinking about your depression or the
or what's going on in your life,
or the cards of the deck that you didn't get dealt. Look at the trees budding. Listen to the birds. Go out, look at your neighbors' homes as you're walking. Just observe your surroundings.
Kind of be present in the moment.
It's called present time consciousness. Be present of Be present of what. Be conscious of what you're experiencing at the moment that you're experiencing it. So. I really have to tiptoe around this because I want this particular patient to feel that she's winning the battle, or she's succeeding. But I'll say to her something like, "Okay, have you been doing your walks today?" She goes, "Well, no, but I've been doing this." Okay, well, that's a good thing. You know, there's our rewards, but there's I told her the last visit just the other day, I said, now, have you been getting out for your walks? Because I know how important that is for her mental frame of mind and her depression to be out doing this, because that will be the beginning of adding other activities back into her life. But everybody can walk.
Right.
So consequently, it's just simply, okay, I'm going to ask you next time, so you make sure you get out for your 20-minute walks a day.
Absolutely.
So.
All right, we're gonna take a break. I have like a zillion more questions and comments on just so many of the things that you've just talked about. But it's 6:32. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. And again, it is National Mental Health Awareness Month. So we're talking this first hour about mental health issues. And this next song that we're going to play is by the Beach Boys. It's called "I Just Wasn't Made for These Times." It was written and sung by Brian Wilson. Always a melancholic soul, Brian Wilson had grown increasingly insular after he stopped touring with the Beach Boys in order to focus on songwriting and production. The sadness of this song signposted Wilson's imminent mental breakdown and decades-long battle with severe depression and psychosis. So let's listen to this. It's called "I Just Wasn't Made for These Times."
I keep looking for a place to fit in where I can speak my mind. And I've been trying hard to find the people that I won't leave behind. They say I got brains, but they ain't doing me no good. I wish they could. Each time things start to happen again, I think I got something good going for myself, but what goes wrong? Sometimes I feel very sad. Sometimes I feel very sad. Sometimes I feel very sad. I guess I just wasn't made for these times. Every time I get the inspiration to go change things around, no one wants to help me look for places where new things might be found. Where can I turn when my fair weather friends come by? What's it all about? Each time things start to happen again, I think I got something good going for myself, but what goes wrong? Sometimes I feel very sad. Sometimes I feel very sad. Sometimes I feel very sad. I guess I just wasn't made for these times. I guess I just wasn't made for these times. Guess I just wasn't made for these times. I guess I just wasn't made for these times. Guess I just wasn't made for these times. I guess I just wasn't made for these times. Guess I
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley, with convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut. Visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 572-8646.
He rules the roost on Thursday from 6 till 10. It's Patrick Berry,
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:37. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and we're broadcasting live from council chambers at City Hall this morning because the mayor's radio show follows mine at 8 o'clock. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I'm here talking to our resident chiropractor, Dr. Gary Gorman, about the importance of exercise and dealing with and how exercise can affect your mental health. So just a few interesting tidbits, Gare, that I pulled out of the Mental Health America website. And they have a whole toolkit for Mental Health Awareness Month. But just 1 hour of exercise a week is related to lower levels of mood, anxiety, and substance use disorders. Among people in the United States, those who make regular physical activity a part of their routines are less likely to have depression, panic disorder, and phobias. And I think this is fascinating, and this could be like a whole other discussion. For people with schizophrenia, yoga is the most effective form of exercise for reducing positive and negative symptoms associated with the disorder.
Wow.
And part of that has to do with delusions and hallucinations. So I think that's a whole other thing that we're gonna have to look into that, because I'll have to maybe get a yoga person. I don't know, if they could address that, but maybe Renee Ricks can come on air and talk about that. But listen to this, Gary. How much exercise should you be getting? 10 minutes of moderate or vigorous exercise at a time, 15 times a week, will get you the recommended amount. You don't have to have a gym membership to make exercise a part of your life. Picking physical activities that are easy to incorporate into things that you already do and having a strong social support system are important in incorporating exercise into your routine. And I know that's going to transition right into what you want to talk about, which is sort of the motivation to exercise. So let's kind of head in that direction.
Yeah. Walking with a friend is a double-edged sword in that when you're dealing with clinical depression and severe depression, the depression that you can't get out of bed in the morning.
Yes.
I feel it really is important to have a buddy system initially for that.
Right.
Because you're held accountable to somebody else other than yourself. And, you have your friend, your neighbor, your friend knock on the door and say, okay, Bill, it's time to go.
We said we were going to meet at 4 o'clock and go for a walk.
And you go for a walk. Yes. I feel part of that is, part of the motivation is, just your being and who you are. Now, for example, in my practice, it is much easier to get athletes and former athletes to get up and out and exercise versus certain persons have had a very sedate lifestyle their entire life because of the choices that they have chosen. For example, you may have an adult who didn't play sports in high school, but was in the band, was on the debate team, was in the did a lot of other extracurricular activities, not necessarily physically driven activities, but were equally as fun and important to them in that time of their life. Yep. So they some people have a relatively sedate lifestyle. So consequently, they are more difficult to motivate, or at least to plant the seeds to start getting exercise done, regardless of whether they're battling depression or not. Just simply, it's something that's so non-routine and new for them to do. Yeah. But I think initially, when you're dealing with mental health issues, having a person to be held accountable for is super important. The downside to that is that, oh, Mary can't walk today, so I'm not going to walk.
Yes. Okay.
And I hear that all.
And I have to say, because my first thought was, why is that a double-edged sword? I would think, do it with a friend, do it with a buddy.
I will hear I also hear the case today. I'll hear the case that, well, Mary's away on vacation, so I can't walk. Well, Mary is not you, and you didn't break your legs, did you? And it's still sunny outside, so go out and by yourself.
Yeah.
So consequently, I feel initially, I think to walk with a group, to walk with somebody, anything that will allow the person that's battling the depression to get up and out is important.
Yeah, and Garrett, that whole motivational factor is key, but it's also really challenging because as well as I do, if it's something that's not sort of part of your routine, and I think there are two ways to look at it. Oh, wow, I get to get outside and take a walk, or I just want to get this over with.
Right.
And if you're of the mindset of, well, I just want to get this over with, anything is going, it's raining out.
Right.
Even though it's 80 degrees and raining, and all you need to do is grab an umbrella, so what, while you're walking. But it's easy to come up with excuses. My friend couldn't do it with me. It's raining out. It's too hot. It's too cold. It's too wet. It's too dry. I mean, you can always come up with that. I'm not sure how you get around that. I'm not sure. I think people, my guess is that would be a very individual type of thing. Whether you have to set a reward for yourself. All right, I have a favorite television show that I'm going to, watch on demand tonight, but I'm going to make myself, go out for a walk or, go to the gym or, just whatever type of exercise, go for a bike ride, whatever you want to do before I'm going to allow myself to watch that show. That's going to be my reward. If that's what it takes for you,
Yeah. And that is excellent in theory, but the fact of the matter is the person that is really setting the stage doesn't have a teacher or a coach that's going to be overseeing that process. The chances of them succeeding is probably pretty low.
Well, but maybe.
I don't think we're as disciplined as you, Teen. Some of us are just more disciplined than others.
I get it. Yeah.
And I feel that if you have discipline, then you can achieve those goals. You can reward yourself for some. I ran 10 miles today so I can have a dessert when we go out to dinner, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But I think when you're dealing with depression, you could justify just about anything to do nothing.
So maybe the key is to really seek out your own sort of personal coach, whether it's a friend, your spouse, a sibling, you're a physician or somebody who is going to be helping, recognizing that it is hard to, that inner self-discipline is tough. I get it.
No doubt about it.
Is that the reason why, like, an Alcoholics Anonymous works? You have to have a sponsor or a buddy?
Yeah,
same type of idea.
I think you're. Pete.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly the case. You're accountable to somebody.
Every day you have to look your sponsor in the eyes and go, "I did okay today," or
"I didn't." Yeah.
Yep.
And so,
I think that's a great analogy. Pete.
The degrees of depression are multiple.
Absolutely.
And the personality. So, as the listeners can understand, this can become a very complex subject to work with.
Absolutely.
It's a very individual, but I think the basic rules are the basic rules. Exercise is important for you to get out and do anything. Even if you walk around your yard 12 times a day, that's better than not getting off the couch or getting out of bed.
Hey, listen, I remember several years ago when Jen Jafune was on, our resident dietitian, and Jen was talking about, she has 4 children and they're fairly close in age. And she was talking about trying to get some, just trying to do some exercise with 4 little kids. And, it's in the middle of the winter in New England. She had all kinds of ideas for what to do at home, while she was in between, running around doing things with the children. You can make it happen if you really want to make it happen.
Right.
But I think that, I think the idea of some kind of a personal coach, if you want to call it sort of a coach, and it may be, asking somebody to say, hey, listen, you know what, this is going to be hard for me. I'm going to need some help with this. And I can't go be visiting my primary care physician every other day. So can you help to kind of keep me on the straight and narrow? We have technology today. So even if it's a text message, saying, hey, did you go for your walk today?
Right.
Did you go for a bike ride today? And, sometimes walking to something. I have a lot of the seniors who live in the downtown area. You don't have to just go for a walk to go for a walk. Go for a walk. It's like, geez, I need a quart of milk. I'll walk down to the Big Y.
Right.
Instead of hopping in your car, walk down to the Big Y. If it's a half a mile in each direction, that's great.
That's right.
So you accomplished something, you did it, and you actually, achieved a task.
Right.
So whatever, I think the key is whatever works for you. But just to recognize the importance of exercise on your mental health. So again, we're going in the reverse order that we usually do. We usually talk about how, your mental health, if you're experiencing bouts of depression, anxiety, all kinds of things, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, all kinds of things, how that can affect your physical health. But what we're doing today is flipping it and saying your physical health and it can really affect your mental health. So all of those physical, that physical well-being is so important as well for your mental
Absolutely.
well-being.
Yes, because when you're physically injured, when you physically have an ailment of some sort and your life is disrupted, that affects you mentally because of as you said earlier today, Teen, the routines that you're in. We are creatures of habit. We get up and do things. When you're disrupting your day, you don't have a purpose to get up to do anything. Yeah. So it's really easy for you to say, I'm turning the alarm off, I'm going to sleep in, or I'm going to stay up tonight and I'm going to watch TV. And because I don't have to get up tomorrow, I can't work. Yeah. And I'm taking my pain medication 4 times a day or whatever you're doing. So you could start to see things unravel out of your routines. And it started with a physical condition, and then it could really lead to some mental distress, especially if you are vulnerable or you have that tendency to
it can really spiral out of control pretty quickly. Yeah. But the exercise piece of it can certainly be built into your routine. So if it's helpful for someone to say, all right, at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, I need to go walk down to Rockies to pick up some light bulbs or something. Get that into your routine. You decide that, but you're going to have to. And again, having a personal coach, a friend, a family member to say, "Hey, did you get that done? Let's go. Come on." All right, we are going to take a break. It is 6:48. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses. So the third song that I have in our trilogy of mental health songs, this is "Help" by the Beatles. You'll all recognize this. The year was 1965. It was the peak year of Beatlemania. For John Lennon, however, it was a nightmare. Trapped in a loveless marriage in his Surrey mansion and tiring of his mop-top image, the creatively restless Lennon sank into severe depression. He later admitted, "That was me really crying out for help," when he wrote this song. His desperately sincere lyrics confused everyone at first, but with hindsight, we see a profoundly damaged young man taking off his mask and telling the world he needed somebody, not just anybody, to heal his pain. No wonder the song Help, has been used for countless charity campaigns. It's one of the bravest pop songs ever created. This is Help by the Beatles.
Help! I need somebody. Help! Not just anybody. Help! I need someone. Help! When I was younger, so much younger than today, I never needed anybody's help in any way. But now these days are gone, I'm not so self-assured. Now I find I've changed my mind and open up the doors. Help me if you can, I'm feeling down, and I do appreciate you being round. Help me get my feet back on the ground. Won't you please, please help me? Now my life has changed in so many ways. My independence seems to vanish in the haze. But every now and then I feel so insecure. I know that I just need you like I've never done before. Help me if you can, I'm feeling down, and I do appreciate you being round. Help me get my feet back on the ground. Won't you please, please help me? When I was younger, so much younger than today, I never needed anybody's help in any way. But now these days are gone, I'm not so self-assured. Now I find I've changed my mind and open up the doors. Help me if you can, I'm feeling down, and I do appreciate you being round. feet back on the ground. Won't you please, please help me, help me, help me.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Barnes and Noble College Bookstore in the Ely Campus Center, offering Westfield State t-shirts, sweatshirts, and gift merchandise, all of your academic needs, and offering textbook materials in new, used, ebook, and rental formats. Available at the bookstore on campus or online at westfieldstate.bncollege.com. Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
It's Tuesday morning from 6 till 8. Wow, it's Tuesday with Bob Plass.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:53. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host. We are broadcasting live from council chambers in City Hall this morning because the mayor's radio show follows mine at 8 o'clock. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. We have Dr. Gary Gorman, our resident chiropractor from Riverbend Medical Group in Agawam, with us this morning. And we've been talking about how our physical health affects our mental health. Well, it's not only, Dr. Gorman, Mental Health Awareness Month, it is also National Salad Month. And we're going to segue into how nutrition also affects our mental health. So National Salad Month, and with the warmer weather here, there's no better time to give your oven a rest and enjoy a lighter meal. When we typically think of a salad, we think of a traditional side salad or green salad, but people can experiment. Remember that salads include fruit and can be expanded to include protein, which make delicious entrees. A salad can be a nutrition powerhouse. To boost the nutrition of your salad, think about adding color and texture. Start with the greens, and instead of using only iceberg lettuce, try mixing in darker greens like spinach, kale, or red leaf lettuce. Add your favorite veggies for flavor and crunch. Tomato, cucumber, shredded carrot, radish, and red cabbage are just a few of the options. Fruits add a sweetness to your salad. Try citrus fruit like mandarin oranges and grapefruit, or go with sliced strawberries or fresh raspberries as a topping. Don't forget the protein. Beans like garbanzo, black, or pinto beans add protein, fiber, and flavor to any salad. Low-fat cheese or a lean meat, fish, or chicken is also a great addition. Nuts and seeds also make a terrific topping, adding crunch and flavor. So, Dr. Gorman, listen to this statistic. Studies have found that young people with the healthiest diets are about half as likely to experience depression. Those with diets highest in junk and processed foods are 80% more likely to have depression. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that, because I think we all pretty much know that foods that are high in fat, high in calories, high in salt are not good for you physically. Right. But I think what many of us didn't know, and I being one of them, is that good nutrition can also help people mentally.
Well, exactly. I mean, it's interesting. There's this expression, we are what we eat.
Yeah.
And going into the tech world, garbage in, garbage out. So what we put in our bodies really influences how we operate. Okay. You wouldn't take your car to the gas station and put super lousy gas in it because it was cheap, but it wouldn't work well. And we need to put good fuel in our bodies as well too. So I mean, it really gets down to basics. What do we often talk about when we talk about teaching people to shop properly? When you walk into the stores, you stay to the perimeter of the store where you have your produce, and you have your your deli section, and you have your meats, your fish, your chicken, your poultry, your frozen foods along the outside.
Yep.
And you know what? I think going back to the basic of simply think like water. Many of us don't drink enough water during the day.
Right.
And we need to eat some.
That doesn't mean that we don't drink things.
That's right. Right.
So we are consuming beverages, but not necessarily good for you beverages.
And, patients will tell me, I said, I don't drink a lot of water, but I drink this. I said, would you wash your car with that? Oh, no. Well, so that means to tell me your car is more important than you are because you're drinking Diet Coke, but you wouldn't wash your car in Diet Coke, would you? Oh, no. Okay. Well, you wash your car with water. Wash your body with water. Drink a lot of water. That's really what you need.
Why is water so important?
Well,
What's the big deal about it?
We're made of 80% water. Our cells need water to survive, and we need water to keep the concentration of the fluids in our body at an optimal level.
Okay.
All right. So we have blood. Our blood is a certain concentration of water and of cells and of proteins, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, and our cells need water. It's just how our body is designed. We need a lot of water in order for us to keep our kidneys functioning, our organ systems functioning, our digestion systems functioning, and at a good capacity. We need all these systems flowing, and water is one of the big the components of that.
Right. And it's interesting because more and more I'm hearing about it. This is partly from my seniors and some of the older adults that I work with, but others as well, of people ending up in the ER because of dehydration.
Right.
That seems to be a huge problem. And it's not just in the summer.
Right.
I mean, we've dealt with a rash of this over the winter. And I don't know whether it's because people aren't as conscious about drinking water when the weather's colder. You know what I mean? I think when it's hot, we all tend to be more conscious about that. I have to drink. But we've just had some real problems.
Well, it really boils down to when you're going to urinate every day.
Right.
You have to replenish the amount of urine that you're getting rid of with water every single day.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're on a diuretic and you're urinating 7 or 8 times a day and you're not replenishing that fluid, you're going to dehydrate.
What were you telling me the other day about brain?
The cerebral spinal fluid. It's different subject, but
I know, but it
there's
was
a portion of the
fascinating.
brain called the choroid plexus. It's a part of the brain that manufactures what's called cerebral spinal fluid. That cerebral spinal fluid protects our brain. It's a cushion, and our spinal cord. It's a fluid cushion surrounding the brain.
Right.
The choroid plexus manufactures approximately 50% of what we urinate during the course of the day. So, if you're urinating a quart of fluid a day, your choroid plexus is secreting approximately 500 milliliters of cerebral spinal fluid a day.
Half is coming from your brain.
Right.
So stay hydrated.
Right.
All right. So listen to this, Gary. Tell me again. I get this off the. This is the Mental Health America. This is a toolkit that they did for, and this has to do with nutrition. So it says food can change your brain. Diet is linked to the hippocampus, a key area of the brain involved in learning, memory, and mental health. People with healthy diets have more hippocampal volume than those with unhealthy diets. Eating more fruits and vegetables, whole grains, legumes, fish, olive oil, and other healthy foods while eating less unhealthy junk and processed foods can be an effective treatment strategy for depression. You buying that?
I do buy that. I do buy that on a host of different fronts. One is that they're all natural sources of food and nutrition. They're not processed. So the more natural that we can eat, the easier the body has to break it down, digest it in the digestion system in our stomach, intestines, and absorb it. You have nutrients, you have enzymes, you have certain chemicals that these food sources will provide our body. And our body, our brains, our cells need these to repair properly.
Okay.
And the more that we provide our body, the more it will repair, and maintain health. And if we overdo it, our body will get rid of what we don't.
What you don't need. All right, we're going to finish on this because, believe it or not, it is 7:01. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses, and the topic has been mental health awareness. But I'm going to finish with this, and obviously we didn't get through everything, so we're going to transition into this next month.
We have the summer.
We have the summer. Well, one of the things that I want to talk about next month, Gary, is because we've now introduced nutrition and diet and that piece of it into the mental health piece. But there is a connection between your gut and your brain, and we're learning more and more about the connection between your gut and your brain. And I want to get into that because that's a whole half a time, half a segment right there. So we're going to finish with this. One study found that 1/3 of participants with depression experienced full relief of symptoms after improving their diet. The more people improved their diets, the more their depression improved.
Right.
So I'm going to leave people on that. So for those who have that tendency, toward depression, and you probably know who you are because a lot of people that I work with who have had a history of depression said, that it started at a fairly young age. So they're pretty aware of that. So if you just do two things that we talked about today, if you just try to incorporate some exercise, and again, we don't mean going out and training for a marathon.
Nope.
You don't have to spend $500 on a gym. Start walking, maybe take out your bike, get out there and do some, raking in your yard or some, gardening or, anything that's swimming. If you like swimming, go to the Boys and Girls Club and, you can swim there, go to the Y. So start doing some of that.
Right.
And just, even if you just change like one or two things about your diet, if you're just more conscious of every day I'm going to drink, 3 glasses of water, whatever it is, you have to start in segments because it can be really kind of overwhelming, and we get that. But if you start doing some small things and you begin to incorporate those, the rest will follow.
Right.
Yes.
I totally agree. Yes.
Okay.
And even if back to the exercise, if you are a TV watcher, stand up and walk in place while you're watching TV.
Yeah, just march in place during the commercials.
Take 1 pound little weights and do curls as you're sitting on the couch. Just do, there's a lot of ways to be active when you're inactive. I'm going to finish with this story, Gary, and you'll remember this. When we were recently in a nursing home down in New Jersey, visiting with someone, and we noticed that she was in her bed, just sitting on her bed. She was dressed. She was sitting on her bed. She had the TV on, and she had these little pink 1 pound weights. Now, this is a woman who was in her late 80s, I believed. And we commented about the weights, and she said, "Oh, well, what the heck? I can use these while I'm watching TV." Right, exactly.
Now, if somebody in a nursing home in bed has the wherewithal to say, "Hey, while I'm watching TV," and she grabbed the weight, she started doing whatever her arm exercises.
She had the personality of motivation.
Oh my God, she was awesome.
Yeah, she did.
Right?
And, right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's what we have to do. Grab some of those little 1 pound weights. Before you know it, it'll be 2 pounds.
Get out and move.
Get out and move. All right. It is 7:04. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. We will be back.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Noble Hospital, a brand new name for a Westfield institution which is improving the health of our community every day with quality and compassion. Noble Hospital and Bay State Health, better together. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Dental. Comprehensive dentistry at 14 convenient locations in Springfield, Chicopee, Longmeadow, West Springfield, Belchertown, East Longmeadow, Ludlow, Northampton, Greenfield, and Wilbraham, as well as 29 Broad Street in Westfield. Bay State Dental makes it a priority to help you achieve and maintain the healthy smile you deserve. On the web at baystatedental.com.
We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646. Friday mornings is something different on 89.5 FM. It's JP's Talk About Town.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from the campus of Westfield State University. This is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:08. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. My name is Tina Gorman. We are broadcasting live from City Hall, from Council Chambers, upstairs, room 201. I'm here with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Now, Pete,
yes,
remind me of the May name. It has something to do with mixers and master and
the Merry Mixmeister of May.
The Merry Mixmeister of May.
I picked that one.
I know you did.
I threw Bob
created
for
that
a
one.
loop.
I know. Bob Klass always comes up with a name for Pete having to do with, the month.
Yes.
And so
I figured I'd beat him to the punch.
I know. And I was listening yesterday. I was listening to the Bob Klass show, the Wow It's Tuesday show. And I thought that was a great one. But I was in the middle of exercise. I was in the middle of doing my crunches.
That's
and
funny.
I didn't have time to write it down because I thought, oh, that's a good one. We got to use that. All right. We have some famous birthdays today. May 2nd. It is the birthday of the late Dr. Benjamin Spock, medical professional and journalist. He was born May 2nd, 1903 in New Haven, Connecticut, and lived to the ripe old age of 94. He died in 1998. Dr. Spock was best known for his parenting advice book, and the title of it was Common Sense Book of Baby and Child Care, originally published in 1946. As a pediatrician, he urged parents to, I love this because you know what? I don't care whether it was 1946. Today's 2018. It's the same advice. He urged parents to trust their common sense, be flexible, and refrain from using corporal punishment. Well, there you go. That's good child rearing advice in any day. The book has been published in 39 languages and it's sold over 50 million copies. So happy birthday to the late Dr. Benjamin Spock. It is also the birthday of the late Leslie Gore. Leslie Gore was a singer born May 2nd, 1946 in Brooklyn, New York. She died, she was young when she died. She was only 68. She died in 2015. Leslie Gore's first single was the 1963 hit, It's My Party, and it was produced by Quincy Jones. The song resonated with millions of teenage girls across America and became an overnight success. Gore's sudden fame was a little overwhelming. She said, "We recorded the record on a Saturday afternoon, March 30th, and I heard the record for the first time on April 6th. I was driving to school literally 7 days later." And she said later on that it just doesn't happen that way anymore. Over the next 2 years, while she remained in high school, Leslie Gore released a string of bubblegum hits like She's a Fool, That's the Way Boys Are, Look of Love, Sunshine, Lollipops and Rainbows, and My Town, My Guy, and Me. One song that stood out from the rest, however, was You Don't Own Me, an unapologetic declaration that women are not objects that men can possess and control, which at the time, again, this was back in the 1960s, and she was only about 17, 18 years old when she was singing that song. So that was a big deal. That song, You Don't Own Me, was steady at number 2 for weeks, and it was surpassed only by the Beatles' world-changing smash hit, I Want to Hold Your Hand. Leslie Gore died of lung cancer, unfortunately, at the age of 68. So happy birthday. And we will play that song, You Don't Own Me, for one of our breaks. It is also, speaking of singers, it is also the birthday of singer Engelbert Humperdinck. He was born May 2nd, 1936 in Madras, India. He's 82 years old today. He was born Arnold George Dorsey, but singer Engelbert Humperdinck got his distinctive name from his manager, who, by the way, also was the manager for Tom Jones.
Oh, okay.
It's the same name. I was wondering where he pulled this name out of. It's the same name as the late 19th century German composer and creator of the opera Hansel and Gretel. So that's who created it. Engelbert Humperdinck. There actually was a real Engelbert Humperdinck. In 1967, he hit it big with the song Release Me and Let Me Love Again. He followed that up with 7 consecutive #1 hits, including After the Lovin' and A Man Without Love. Often called the King of Romance, Humperdinck continues to perform today. He reportedly averages about 140 shows per year. Not bad for a guy who's 82 years old.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Pretty impressive. It is also the birthday of soccer player David Beckham. He was born May 2nd, 1975 in London, England. He's 43 years old today. A phenom almost from the moment he could first kick a soccer ball. David Beckham began playing for Manchester United, England's legendary soccer team, at age 18 and was a starter by age 20. His bravado and good looks offered up plenty of off-field potential too. In 1998, Beckham, who'd already signed a deal with Adidas, netted $13 million in endorsement deals. The Beckham brand only enhanced in value when he met Victoria Adams, also known as Posh Spice of the Spice Girls.
No power couple there.
In 1997, I know, right? The two quickly fell in love, tied the knot at a lavish $800,000 wedding at a castle outside of Dublin, Ireland.
I didn't have the cash registers down ready.
Exactly. Yeah, right. Cha-ching, cha-ching. In 2007, David Beckham signed a 5-year, $250 million contract. Thank you, with the LA Galaxy. In May 2013, he announced plans to retire. So happy birthday to David Beckham. It is also the birthday of Princess Charlotte. She was born May 2nd, 2015 in London, England, and she's 3 years old today. Her Royal Highness Princess Charlotte of Cambridge is the daughter of Prince William and Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge. She is 4th in line for the British throne after her grandfather, Prince Charles, her father, Prince William, and her older brother, Prince George. The full name of the princess is Charlotte Elizabeth Diana. Each part of her name pays special tribute to members of the royal family. Charlotte is a feminine form of Charles and honors Prince William's father. This name is also important to her mother's family, as well as Aunt Pippa Middleton's middle name is Charlotte. Elizabeth is a traditional name within the British royal family and is the name of William's grandmother and great-grandmother. And lastly, of course, the selection of Diana reflects the royal couple's desire to remember William's late mother, Princess Diana. So happy 3rd birthday to Princess Charlotte. And finally, it is the birthday of Christine Baranski, actress. She was born May 2nd, 1952 in Buffalo, New York. She's 66 years old today. A 1974 graduate of Juilliard, she earned early success on Broadway in the 1980s with the plays The Real Thing and Rumors, winning 2 Tony Awards. In the 1990s, she became known for her acclaimed work on television, where she won an Emmy and has been nominated for many others for her work on Sybil, The Big Bang Theory, playing Leonard's mother, and The Good Wife. Baranski has also co-starred in a variety of films with musical leanings, including The Birdcage, Chicago, Mamma Mia, and Into the Woods. And if you saw her picture, you would definitely recognize who she is. So happy 66th birthday to actress Christine Baranski. So that's it for our famous birthdays. It is 7:16. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. And our song this time around is Engelbert Humperdinck, Release Me and Let Me Love Again.
Please release me don't love you anymore. To waste our lives would be a sin. Release me and let me love again. I have found a new love, dear, and I will always want her near. Her lips are warm while yours are cold. Release me, my darling, let me go. For I don't love you anymore. To waste my life would be a sin. So release me and let me love again. Please release me, can't you see? You'd be a fool to cling to me. To live a life would bring us pain. So release me and let me love again.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Commercial Distributing Company of Westfield. Now in its third generation of family ownership, Commercial is one of the premier beverage distributors of Western Massachusetts. The Plasek family and the staff of Commercial Distributing wishes you good times throughout the year and urges you to drink responsibly. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646. Friday mornings is something different on 89.5 FM. It's JP's Talk About Town.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from the campus of Westfield State University. This is 89.5 FM WSKB Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:21. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. It is Wednesday, May 2nd. Temperature still in the high 40s, but it's getting up to the high 80s today. So dress appropriately. It's really going to be a sunny, nice, beautiful, warm, sunny day. I have a meeting. I'm in studio this morning with Pete Cole, we're at City Council chambers with Pete Coles this morning.
Yep.
I have a meeting for Run Stanley, which is the race that takes place at Stanley Park in October. But we have a meeting this afternoon, and I already know it's going to be crazy up at Stanley Park today because we'll have all of the Westfield State students up there, sunbathing and getting ready for their finals, out in the park. So it's a beautiful day. Take advantage, folks. We've earned this one. We have a lot going on around the city. So let's get to some of the upcoming events. Lots of stuff happening. And I'm going to start with tomorrow, which is May 3rd, the first concert series at the Westfield Athenaeum. By the way, that's the Westfield Library. For those of you who don't know, I had somebody ask me last week, what is the Athenaeum? And I said, okay, that's the library. Clearly you're not from Westfield, but it's our city library. So anyway, the first concert, the first Thursdays of the month, they do a concert. It's free of charge. So come on down. It's at noon. And Joyce Peregrine, who coordinates that program, wanted me to let you know, because these are, I think, locals, Jerry Noble and Bob Sparkman. Bob and Jerry have been performing together for almost 20 years. The duo has recorded 7 compact discs of their favorite tunes. This program is funded by the Westfield Cultural Council. There is no catering available on site this year, just to let you know. So please visit a local restaurant and bring takeout or lunch from home while you enjoy the concert. So you are certainly welcome to bring some food into it. And a special thank you, obviously, to the Westfield Cultural Council. So that's the first Thursday concert series at the Westfield Athenaeum, which is the library. Tomorrow, May 3rd, Thursday.
As Kenny calls it, the library. The
library at 12 noon. So we've got Jerry Noble and Bob Sparkman. And Joyce was saying they are. This is not their first rodeo at the Athenaeum, and they're very popular. So she wanted to make sure that I announced that. And we also have some flyers up at the senior center. So, but again, back in the old days when they had a little bit more grant funding for this, they would also supply lunch, but they don't do that anymore. But as Joyce said, you're welcome to bring your lunch. Or go to a local restaurant, which would be a great idea. You can do takeout. Okay. Also, this weekend we were talking about Stanley Park. Very, very important event going on. This is an annual. It always happens, and I believe it's usually the first Saturday in May. We have the Homeward Vets donation drive. So Stanley Park will be hosting a donation drive for the Homeward Vets organization on Saturday, May 5th from 8 a.m. to noon. Homeward Vets is a nonprofit organization that helps to provide home furnishings to previously homeless veterans who are transitioning into permanent housing, and they rely solely on contributions and donations. Homeward Vets is looking to collect small household items for veterans to set up their permanent homes. They're looking for things like dinnerware, cookware, small appliances such as toasters, microwaves, toaster ovens, coffee makers, just to name a few. Cash donations will also be accepted and will be used to purchase gift cards for Big Y and Stop and Shop for groceries. Please join them in the Asian Garden parking lot on Margaret Lane, across from the Veterans Memorial at Stanley Park, with your donated items. If you'd like more information, you can call the development office over at Stanley Park at 568-9312, extension 108. Dave Felty is the president of Homeward Vets, and I have to tell you, this organization is one of those that's really near and dear to my heart. I've met Dave and his wife, and the way this organization got started was his wife was working, I believe, for the Housing Authority up in Northampton.
Okay.
At one time, and what was going on was that they were working desperately hard to get housing for homeless vets, and oftentimes they were able to do that. But these veterans would come literally, Dave was saying, like with a duffel bag.
Yeah.
That's all they had.
I think I've met him too.
So they have, it was like they'd have some clothing and that's it. They didn't have furniture. They didn't have bedding, towels, any kind of kitchen, anything, pots and pans, supplies or whatever. So he and his wife started this Homeward Vets program where they would collect these items. So, this is a great time of the year. I know people are cleaning closets or switching their clothes around. It's spring cleaning time. And, I actually, one year I missed this. I couldn't donate to Stanley Park because we were away that weekend. So they have a warehouse in Ludlow, and Gary and I drove out to the warehouse in Ludlow, and, things like lamps, just things that stuff. Think about
stuff that's cluttering up your house.
Yeah, but that people really need. So, extra blankets, sheets, towels, things like that. But of course, we want everything in good shape and make sure that it's cleaned, that you've washed it and dried it and so forth. So that's this Saturday at Stanley Park from 8 a.m. to 12 noon. So get those closets clean. This is a really, really terrific cause. And these people, this is all, volunteer. They do this. I mean, they have their regular full-time jobs and just spend a tremendous amount of time on this. So really pushing that one. Also, the YMCA is going to be holding a tag sale. So they're calling all tag sellers, crafters, and vendors looking to clean out their home and sell their goods. The YMCA is hosting its first outside tag sale. The Y will accommodate anyone who wants to reserve a space at the Y's back parking lot. Individuals are responsible for bringing their own table and chair. No items are allowed to be left behind, so you have to leave your space clean. The rental cost for a 10 by 10 space is $30 for Y members and $35 for non-members. You must complete a registration form with payment. So if you're interested in participating, the actual tag sale will take place a week from Saturday on May 12th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And Cindy Agan over at the YMCA is coordinating this whole event. So if you have questions or you'd like to reserve a space, contact Cindy Agan at 568-8631. And if you forget that, just look up the YMCA phone number and you can give them a call. We were just talking about the Athenaeum, Pete, and the First Thursday concert, but they are having some great programs, and most of these look like they would be for children with families, moms and dads, and so forth.
Sure.
So, so I just highlighted a few that are coming up. They have them for the whole month of May, and I think I got this out of the Penny Saver. So, always a good source of information. But listen to this: Thursday, May 3rd at 4 p.m. They're having cupcake decorating. Learn frosting techniques. I love this. I mean, how fun would this be? Learn frosting techniques from a master baker as you have fun decorating cupcakes to take home and eat. This is appropriate for ages 8 and up. Space is limited, so you have to sign up. So please sign up today at the Athenaeum. So that's this Thursday. Monday, the 7th at 6 p.m., they're having a program called Muffins with Mom. Moms and kids are invited to join us for a story, craft, and snack to celebrate Mother's Day. All ages are welcome. Please register for this event. So if you're not sure what to do for Mom, because we do have Mother's Day coming up in a couple of weeks, you can do Muffins with Mom. So that's Monday, May 7th at 6 p.m. And again, you need to register for that. And then we'll do 2 more going into next weekend. So Friday, May 11th at 10 a.m., Music Together. Obviously, this is for young children because it's at 10 o'clock on a Friday. Children and their grown-ups will enjoy singing, rhyming, dancing, and playing in a relaxed, fun class led by Carrie Klee from Greater Springfield Music Together. This class helps little ones from birth to age 8 develop their innate musicality and language skills. Sponsored by the Westfield Cultural Council and the Friends of the Athenaeum. Again, please register as space is limited. And then the next day, which is my all-time favorite, I think this is the coolest thing. So Saturday, May 12th at the Athenaeum at 10 a.m., Laundry Day. Kids will have loads of fun as they learn how people washed their clothes long ago. Dennis Picard, a local historian, will show kids how to use washboards, wringers, and old-fashioned equipment, and then hang their clothes to dry. Bring your own piece of clothing to wash. This program is for kids ages 5 to 13, and again, you need to register. So what a great introduction for kids to how to do your laundry.
Yeah, there you go. It's a lost art.
Well, it's really funny though, Pete, because I remember I was listening to some psychologist, this was years and years ago, and he was saying that, children can learn how to do their own laundry.
Children are very adaptable to lots of things.
Right. And in this modern day and age with washers and dryers, it's a matter of, pushing buttons. There's nothing difficult. There's nothing unsafe about it. So, they just learn how to sort their clothing.
How to use a complex cell phone. They can learn how to wash.
They can learn how to do laundry.
Do dishes.
So, so Laundry Day, Saturday, May 12th.
Sweep the floor.
Yeah. So lots of really great programs. Lots of really great programs at the Westfield Athenaeum. It is 7:31. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. And of course, we've only begun to talk about all the stuff going on in Westfield. So we're going to take a short break. I lost my sheet, so I'm not sure what my song is. is. I think
It's your party.
It's a Leslie Gore song.
It's your party.
It's My Party by Leslie Gore.
It's my party and I cry if I want to, cry if I want to, cry if I want to. You would cry too if it happened to you. Nobody knows where my Johnny is gone. Judy left at the same time. Why was he holding her hand when he's supposed to be mine? It's my party and I cry if I want to, cry if I want to, cry if I want to. You would cry too if it happened to you. Play all my records, keep dancing all night, but leave me alone for a while. Till Johnny's dancing with me, I've got no reason to smile. It's my party and I cry if I want to, cry if I want to, cry if I want to. You would cry too if it happened to you. Oh, Judy and Johnny just walked through that door like a queen with her king. Oh, what a birthday surprise! Judy's wearing his ring. It's my party and I cry if I want to, cry if I want to, cry if I want to. You would cry too if it happened to you. Oh, it's my party and I cry if I want to, cry if I want to, cry if I want to. You would
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley, with convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut. Visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
He rules the roost on Thursday from 6 till 10. It's Patrick Berry,
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:35. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. My name is Tina Gorman. We are broadcasting live. We're in council chambers this morning at City Hall, second floor, for those of you who'd like to stop by and visit. I'm here with Pete Coles, the chairman of the board, and something about the Merry Mixmaster
of May.
The Merry Mixmeister of May. Pete Coles.
I'm going to mess with Bob because I'm going to say Mixmaster, Mixmeister. You know, just mess with them all.
Yeah. Okay. Get him confused. All right. So we have this theme going of everything in the world to do in Westfield coming up during the month of May. So here's another one. Westfield Technical Academy is holding an alumni tour and lunch.
Yes.
May 11th. So that's coming up now. That's next week, 9:30 to 12:30. I think this would be really interesting for people who are alumni. So they're doing guided tours with student demonstrations, and they will end with lunch at Tiger's Pride, there's an $8 fee for the lunch. This event will be capped to 20 alumni. So you do need to register. You can email them at alumni@WTAHS, so Westfield Technical Academy High School.com, or you can call Rob Alari at 572-6533, extension 60004.
And Friday is a buffet day, so it's on a Friday.
It is on a Friday.
Yes.
The 11th is a Friday?
Right. So
Okay,
that's all
very
the
good,
dishes
Pete.
that the students have been working on all week.
And if you've never had a meal at Westfield Technical Academy, let me tell you, it's a treat. I serve on the advisory committee for the Allied Health Department, and the big draw is that once or twice a year we have these meetings and they feed us, and it's It is unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. The food is so good. So anyway, alumni tour and lunch. Make sure you register for that. If you couldn't remember all those names and emails, I have the flyer up on the bulletin board in the vestibule at the Senior Center. Also on Friday, May 11th, the Hampton County Bar Association is doing a community paper shredding day. So if you missed the one over at the Senior Center a couple of weeks ago, you can go to Century Center Shopping Plaza on 219 Memorial Avenue in West Springfield. It's right across from Bob's Discount Furniture. This event is free and open to the public. There's a 4-box limit, but you can get a lot into 4 boxes with a donation of a perishable food item for the local food pantry. So again, that's Friday, May 11th from 11 to 2, and that's over in West Springfield. It's just across the line, not too far, at the Century Center Shopping Plaza on Memorial Avenue. So it's kind of down the street from the Big E, but it's right near Bob's Furniture. So this I thought would be really interesting, Pete. I was reading about this. This was either in the Westfield News or in the Penny Saver.
Okay.
Remembering the War to End All Wars, commemorating the centennial of World War I. As the centennial of the end of the First World War approaches, the Westfield Veterans Council will host a program called Remembering the War to End All Wars. The 90-minute program will be held on Saturday, May 19th at 6:30 at Holy Trinity Social Center, which is 335 Elm Street, right here in Westfield. There will be a reading of letters from the trenches, including one of the Christmas truce when German and English soldiers laid down their guns to celebrate the holiday together. The audience will be invited to participate in sing-alongs of memorable tunes of the era, such as Pack Up Your Troubles, Over There, and I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy. This free, family-friendly program is open to the public and sponsored by a grant from the Westfield Cultural Council, a local agency supported by the Massachusetts Cultural Council. And this also has to do with the Small Planet Dancers, which we're going to talk a little bit more about the Small Planet Dancers coming up because they're doing a program at the Senior Center this month. So this is going to be a great program. If you'd like more information, you can call 746-9067. But again, the date on this is Saturday, May 19th, 6:30 p.m. at Holy Trinity Social Center, which is at 335 Elm Street. And it's about an hour and a half. So it's a family program. So, you'll be done at 8:00 on a Saturday night. Yeah, it seems really, really interesting. Great stuff. I saw Brian Barnes. He stopped in at the Senior Center last week to thank me for doing some advertising. They are looking for volunteers at Amelia Park for their gardens. And we've been talking about that on air, and I have some things posted at the Senior Center. And I think I actually even put an article in our April newsletter. Help is needed for our Adopt a Plot program, which involves gardening maintenance from spring until fall of designated areas surrounding the Amelia Park ice skating rink. And it also includes assisting the landscaper in the fenced-in garden areas when needed. So if you love being outside, if you have a passion for gardening and you want to give back to the community, and especially maybe if you're someone who's now living in an apartment and you don't have an opportunity to do gardening on your own, this would be wonderful. It's well received by the community, so it would give a lot of people joy. So you can call Bev or Beth at 205-6295. or 562-6897. And again, if you need those numbers, we have this posted at the Senior Center. So that's Amelia, or you can just call Amelia Park. They'll get you those numbers.
They had a very successful sled hockey tournament over the weekend.
You know what? I thought that's what was going on because Ann Harder, who runs our bingo program, was not at bingo. And I think Barbara Coleman told me she was over at Amelia Park. And I thought, it must be the weekend of the sled hockey, which I usually make a big deal and announce that. I didn't realize it was coming up. It escaped me this year.
Yeah, no, I understand. It did to me because I was doing the remote and I saw Brian and he said he was, just chilling out before he went in for a long day.
Yeah, it was going to be really crazy. So, and then the last announcement that I want to make before we take a break on the what's going on in Westfield. Then after the break, we're going to talk about what's going on at the Senior Center, which, I've got about 16 pages there. Be our guest for breakfast. The Governor's Center has been hosting monthly breakfasts on Wednesday. It's sort of it's usually a Wednesday in the middle of the month at 9:00. These are free and they're open to the public. I mean, one of the things that they want to do is get people to come inside of Governor's Center, sort of see what they've done. They've done some nice renovations. They've had some changing in management and administration and some staffing there, and they're doing some good things. So what they do is they have a breakfast. They have a speaker. I believe the one last month was Bianca Sirac over at the Arbors. And the speaker this month, which is Wednesday, May 16th, will be your very own Tina Gorman, Executive Director of the Westville Council on Aging. So you do need to RSVP to the Governor's Center by Monday, May 14th. You can either call them or email. You want to call Roxanne at 241-1076. And I believe that Mary Lou did put this up on the bulletin board at the Senior Center. And I understand from the son of one of our participants, Jack Curdy, said to me yesterday, he said, this breakfast is unbelievable. He said that,
you have to report back on that.
I know. Well, it was funny because Jack said to me, he goes, I understand you're going to be the guest at the Governor's Center breakfast this month in May. He said, we went in April. He said the breakfast was phenomenal. I mean, it's not just like a little, like a little continental thing. It's like a full, big breakfast. So I said to Jack, I will pass that along to our listeners. Who knew? And they used to do this several years ago when I first started at the Senior Center. They were doing these monthly breakfasts, and then, again, change in staff, change in management. They got away from it.
Sure.
And they're bringing it back. And so, I think they're again, just trying to get people in there. And, I haven't been inside Governor's Center in a while. So after I do my presentation, I'm going to ask them for a little tour. So maybe people can jump in on that with me.
Yeah.
So that's what's kind of going on around Westfield. Of course, that's a smattering, folks. And I will tell you,
tons of stuff
there's
going
tons of stuff. And if you want to know what's going on, the Westfield News, the Westfield Penny Saver, it's there. That's where the good information is. So it is 7:44.
Well, we can't disparage Danny Nason. He does a lot of
Danny. Oh my God, he does. He's awesome.
Westfield.
And Danny is like my new publicity agent.
Yes, he is. He's good at it.
He's really awesome at it. He has this flyer that he put, and so I forward that to Gary. It's like, hey, Gary, look, you made the flyer. You're on my show tomorrow. So so thank you. Huge shout out to Danny, because it's people like Danny that just make Westfield a better place, right?
Absolutely.
And he does really, really help to get the word out, online. So a million thanks, and thanks for bringing that up, Pete. So we are going to listen to Leslie Gore's version of "You Don't Own Me." It's really interesting when you listen to the lyrics of this song, which was done back in the mid '60s by a 17-year-old kid. How poignant it is in today's age. So when we come back, we'll talk about some Senior Center stuff.
You don't own me. I'm not just one of your many toys. You don't own me. Don't say I can't go with other boys. And don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what to say. And please, when I go out with you, don't put me on display, 'cause you don't own me. Don't try to change me in any way. You don't own me. Don't tie me down, 'cause I'd never stay. I don't tell you what to say. I don't tell you what to do. So just let me be myself. That's all I ask of you. I'm young and I love to be young. I'm free and I love to be free. To live my life the way I want. To say
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Barnes & Noble College Bookstore in the Ely Campus Center, offering Westfield State t-shirts, sweatshirts, and gift merchandise, all of your academic needs, and offering textbook materials in new, used, ebook, and rental formats. Available at the bookstore on campus or online at westfieldstate.bncollege.com.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Wally Computer Associates, one of the largest technology providers in North America. Headquartered in Southwick, Wally provides all of the products and services that you'd expect from a world-class technology partner to schools, colleges, businesses, as well as state and local governments and agencies. Wally Computer Associates, meeting all of your technology needs. On the web at WCA.com.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Comcast and Xfinity.com, offering Xfinity TV, Internet, home phone, and home security services. Information on all that Xfinity has to offer in the Westfield area is available online at Xfinity.com.
We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
He rules the roost on Thursday from 6 till 10. It's Patrick Berry,
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:49. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. It is Wednesday, May 2nd. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and we are broadcasting live from City Hall and Council Chambers up on the second floor this morning. I'm here with Pete Coles, the chairman of the board. So, Pete, one other community announcement that I forgot, and I promised John DeFeo that I would make this announcement. Remember, John was on the show probably about a month ago. We were talking about Grandmother's Garden.
Yes.
And
yes.
Looking for volunteers. You know, if you want to volunteer, there is no excuse for not being able to find something to do. I mean, there's a volunteer opportunity for everybody out there.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
And I have recently, last night, the senior center was closed, and of course I was still there. And I saw I saw somebody pull up, and they're looking in, and so I went over and I opened the door. I said, "Can I help you?" And it was a recent retiree who said, it occurred to me after about 3 weeks of retirement that I'm like doing nothing. Right. I need to do something. Are there any volunteer opportunities?
Why?
Okay, so about 3 hours later, because, it's not.
What do you got them signed up for?
It's not just at the senior center, though. I mean, and I keep telling that to people. There are volunteer opportunities all over the city. So anyway, Grandmother's Garden is one of them. They're going to be hosting a series of workshops. And one of them is the one that's coming up June 2nd at 11 o'clock. It's called Backyard Composting. And the presenter is Dave Dion from the Horticulture Department at Westfield Technical Academy. So he's going to discuss the best ways to recycle and make great compost in your backyard. It's a free workshop, but you do need to sign up. So you can call 374-4719 before May 29th. So we'll be making this announcement more frequently.
When I was a kid, my grandfather used to have me and my brother dig a hole in about a third of his garden, and he'd rotate it every year.
Okay.
We'd blow all the leaves in there. He'd throw some lime, and we'd fill the hole.
Yep. Okay, there you go.
And then he'd just rotate that every year. So he had a garden that the corn would grow 10 feet tall.
And that is called composting.
Yeah.
How simple is that?
Yep.
So here's this is my thing about like Westfield, like everybody works together, great community and everything. So Danny Nason yesterday morning, we were talking about Danny before.
Yes.
So Danny had emailed me, okay, who's going to be on your show? What are the topics? And he made up this beautiful flyer for me, which he posted. I got an email 15 minutes later from John DeFeo with the information on this composting. So I made this flyer up for John DeFeo. Isn't that pretty? And I emailed it back to him and I said, okay.
Did you send a copy to Danny?
No, I didn't. I'll send a copy to Danny.
Yeah, so you can put it on the
I sent this
Experience
back
Westfield.
to John so that he can do that. Yeah, I'll send a copy to Danny as well.
Yeah.
So, that's what is it called? Paying it forward kind of thing?
Yes.
Helping each other out.
Yep.
Okay, so Senior Center, May newsletter is out. Make sure you get a copy because we have a zillion programs and they're starting like ASAP. So first of all,
too many to talk about. Just get the paper.
Exactly. There are too many to talk about, but I'm going to try to hit the highlights on especially the ones that you need to know about during the next week.
Okay.
So first of all, our Mother's Day, we're calling it our Dance Extravaganza Luncheon. So this is a little bit different than what we've normally done. We usually have some musical entertainment and, that's really great. But we're doing something different. The tickets go on sale tomorrow morning at 9:00. And I know we're going to be sold out, I think, by the end of the day. So I'm just giving everybody fair warning. So mothers, grandmothers, godmothers, and mother figures, as well as those who love them. So this is not just for women. Men are invited as well. Will be treated to a unique senior center celebration. So the actual event is on Thursday, May 24th, and the featured entertainment will be the Small Planet Dancers. Their show is entitled The Republic of Dance and will feature dances from around the globe. We have 6 members of the Small Planet Dancers who will be performing. The performance will begin at 11:00 and then lunch will follow. The luncheon menu is chicken cordon bleu, gravy, sweet mashed potatoes, green beans, honey buttered cornbread, and strawberry parfaits for dessert, if you actually have room for dessert by the time you eat all that. The tickets are $5 and must be purchased in advance. The seating is limited. The tickets go on sale tomorrow morning at 9:00, and you may purchase no more than 2 tickets per person. Okay? So make sure that you get your tickets early.
Danny doesn't need a flyer unless you want to give him your version. He just sent me one of the backyard composting.
All right, listen, I'm sending him, Danny. I'm sending you my version just because
I know hers might be cooler than yours, Danny.
Just because I spent some time on it, Danny. So I'm gonna just send me an email, Danny, and remind me to send you mine. And
I think it might be cooler, Danny. You might want hers.
Well, I got a lot of flowers on mine.
Yeah,
but that's okay. All right. So, yes, and speaking of flowers and gardening, I do want to make this announcement, and I put this right on the front page of my May newsletter. I have a huge shout out and thank you. I have an article on thank you volunteers because this is the month that we honor our volunteers. But I also want to thank Mike Ayers. Mike Ayers works for the Department of Public Works here for the city of Westfield, and he is our senior center groundskeeper extraordinaire. Mike last month spent a day and a half clearing all the winter debris, the branches, the leaves from all around our flower beds, all over our lawn, our parking lot. And I just want to thank him publicly for taking as much pride in our senior center as the city's older adults do, and certainly as my staff does. We really appreciate your hard work, Mike, throughout the summer months with our lawn maintenance. He is so meticulous. He is a man after my own heart and pays attention to detail. I can't say enough about Mike Ayers, and I see him all over the city. I mean, he does Park Square Green and, lots of other places that I see him, but we want to thank him for his work at the senior center. On Monday, May 7th, so that is coming up, and you do not have to sign up for this, but I think this is a really important program, and it's something, again, kind of different. We're doing a presentation on responsible gambling. It's going to take place Monday, May 7th at 1:00. Amy Gabrilla from Game Sense will be at the Senior Center to take you on an educational journey into the mind of a slot machine. What games provide you with the possibility of a better outcome? What types of machines offer higher payback to the players? Which games provide longer play time? What specifics about the way slots are programmed would be beneficial for a slot player to know? So this is an opportunity to learn about the games you're playing and how to choose wisely. Come one, come all, bring every question you ever had about slot machines and take advantage of this unique opportunity to engage in a slot conversation that is not available to most. So, we really felt that with MGM coming to Springfield, we just wanted people, maybe some people who are familiar with gaming and slot machines and others who aren't and maybe want to try it out. So just to have some knowledge about it. And I think this is
some people like to actually go and play, and if you can extend your time playing.
Right, exactly. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's like, well, how can I make this more enjoyable? Well, one of the reasons is I don't want to lose all my money in the first 30 seconds.
Right, because I usually give my $20 donation to the tribe in my first hour or so, and I'm done.
Yeah. So this should be really interesting. So that's Monday at 7:00. Monday, May 7th at 1:00 at the Senior Center. And again, you don't have to sign up for that. We have another program that's coming up that you are going to need to sign up for, and I'm really excited about this one as well. Every year, the Massachusetts Bar Association has a program called the Elder Law Education Project, and attorneys throughout the state volunteer to do an educational program at a local senior center free of charge. And this year, so what happens is the directors of the councils on aging let the Bar Association know that they would like to participate, and then you're assigned an attorney. This year, the attorney that we're assigned is Attorney Hyman Darling out of Springfield. And Hyman Darling is, in my opinion, and I've been doing this for a very long time, is kind of the guru of elder law, just very knowledgeable. And I had the opportunity to meet Attorney Darling in person last year. He did a program over at the Arbors. I have never met him before, but when I taught at Springfield College, I used a lot of his material because he's written a bunch of stuff in teaching my class. So he and I talked about that last year when I met him, and it was really kind of an honor to meet him. He's also hysterically funny. He does such a great presentation. So he will be presenting at the senior center, and just because of his depth and breadth of knowledge, I'm doing this as an evening program. So he will be there Thursday, May 31st. So it's the last day of May at 6 p.m. We are asking people to sign up just so that I know which room to use, because I'm not sure how many people we're going to get. But every older adult, we've talked about this ad nauseum, should have his or her legal affairs in order. You really need to do that ahead of time. So this is a great opportunity to get some good information. So call us at the Senior Center at 562-6435 to sign up for that program. Let me just see if there's anything else that's really pressing. I don't think so. I think everything else can wait till next week. It is 7:59. I'm proud of myself. I finished on time. I didn't get into Denny's time. We have Denny Akins here. He's going to be Mayor Sullivan, Amber, who's coming.
They're coming in hot, apparently.
They're all coming in. It is 7:59. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield Masses. Tomorrow on Patrick Berry's show, 6 o'clock show, he has Scott Hathaway.
You see this guy everywhere in the city.
Who works for the Department of Public Works. We've really been wowing the DPW.
Everywhere.
He is supervisor of Jim Blazczak. Jim Blazczak is head of Parks and Recreation.
Yeah.
And so Scott is above him on the park side of it. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that should be really interesting.
Yep.
I don't think Patrick. We've never had him on the show before.
Nope.
So that's tomorrow morning from 6 until 8 o'clock. Thank you so much for listening. I think this was a great show. I thought Gary had a really terrific segment this morning on, again, May is National Mental Health Awareness Month, and we're talking about how your physical health affects you mentally. Of course, we only got through about a third of it, so that will carry us through the next couple of months. Enjoy this beautiful warm weather day. It's going up into the high 80s today. We have Denny Akins when we come back.
Look inside, girl. Let the sound take you away. Last night I owned a lettuce land, and so I wish that I could stay. Before the thing could answer me, well, someone came and took the lamp away. I looked around, a lousy candle's all I found. Well, you don't know what we can find. Why don't you come with me, little girl, on a magic carpet ride? Well, you your eyes, girl. Look inside, girl. Let the sound take you away.